Greetings, brothers and sisters. All praises to the kingdom in the name of your Ushan to Abba Yahuwah. How y'all doing? It ain't been that long, so I'm finna skip all the formalities, bro. I've been going crazy. Niggas been learning a lot. Now, I mean, we all know the gist of why we're here. We all know what's going on with all this blood and all this DNA and stuff. So I was like, all right, well, I know for certain, for sure, and for a fact that I am who I am. I am who I say I am, and niggas is who they say they is. So I'm like, all right, I want to know more. You feel me? And all this really came about because of two people. He was talking about, I said he, yeah, he one of them, because he was talking about how Watchmen are like people like Gabriel, who was David, or Raphael, me, who was Joshua, or my boy Marty, who was John the Baptist type things that's going on. It's like demigods, whatever you want to call them. Basically, the father sends his sons back to live different lives. You feel me? And hey, man, it is what it is. So that was that. But also, my boy Marty, he made a video, and in the video, he was doing some decode. He had my name and stuff in there, but that's not even it. It was about the whole 666 number. And now, it's the bad number, Slick. The beast number is actually like 616. 666 is mad royal. It's just sacred bloodline, all that. And he had did some decode, and 666 had came out to human and an Anunnaki, right? And so take a look at this on the screen. Yeah, that's just one. So I was like, I bet. I'm deep diving. You can see among other things, especially that 111, which I had to explain everything about my life. But you can see among other things at the bottom, that thing say heir to the throne of David. I mean, like we said before, that's not just talking about one person. It's talking about, watch me. At MJC Jr., that's my initials, by the way, Marlon Jermaine Cloud Jr. Niggas can use my whole name. I've done that, bro. I have no doubts anymore. I don't give a damn if niggas don't believe me. I don't mean shit to me, cuz I'm going to sprinkle some more of these throughout the whole little video, but here's one more. MJC Jr., Marlon Jermaine Cloud Jr., Holy Grail Bloodline. Your true identity, the celestial promised land, heir to the throne of David, super soldier, the second coming of Yahusha, and bloodline of the Holy Grail. I mean, look, bro, don't flatter me, okay? One thing for certain, our enemy is definitely down for making me feel real important, boy. Niggas been trying to get me up out of here, but I ain't going nowhere, dude. I seen this white niggas, like, and I can tell which ones they be, because you can just tell. They usually have glasses on. They all got that same weird ass cut. Yo, this nigga pulled up on niggas, right, in a truck. Not even like, all right, because I was riding down the sidewalk on my bike, and I bypassed like this little church. And it's like, it's a sidewalk, and then you can get off this grass, and then there's church on the left-hand side. So I'm all the way on the right. This nigga pull around in the truck. I can tell he's one of them because I just can. And on the back, he got a sticker that says Archangel. So I'm like, I bet, bro. So I'm staring at this nigga, trying not to laugh. And this nigga looking to the side, scratching his head and shit like, oh my gosh. You feel me? Like, niggas is scared of us, bro. And there was another one that happened that same day right before that. Usually when I'm in public, and you know how niggas stare at each other sometimes, I usually niggas either look away at first, or I just look away, because it's like, man, I'm not worried about none of you fools. But this same looking type of white guy was fucking stared at me on some other shit. So I'm like, for some reason, I just felt the urge to stare this nigga down. And I did. And his ass jittered and walked away. So I'm like, boy, niggas is special out here. But anyway, because we all know that all media, just fantasy is reality. All this media is just black magic shit to make niggas think what's real is not, and what's not is real. I seen somewhere in Gematria, niggas said, all your dreams are reality and all your reality is dreams. It's like, damn, boy, it's black magic. Anyway, the father be showing me mad stuff, because one day, for no reason, I just started watching this little show called Shadow and Bone, because I can tell, like, what's showing stuff. Well, not even that. Like I just said, everything is pretty much. In this show, you got things called Grisha, right? And basically, because of their blood, they got powers that can control elements. Sounds like what? Now, we was just talking about Watchmen and what Watchmen are. Well, let's see what Grisha means. Vigilant, A watchman. You can see at the bottom it says it's also a short form for the name Gregory or Grigorish. Gregory. What's a Gregory? Oh, that's right. They're watchers. Fallen angels. Fallen angels. Just because you're fallen doesn't mean you're not coming back. Them niggas ain't coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I definitely am a star that fell from heaven, but I'm coming back. It's all good. That's part of the reason why I'm sitting here talking to you. Anyway.
First of all, what are Grisha? Grisha are basically what the magic users are called in this world, particularly in Ravka. The magic users in this world are not welcome in many places. For example, Fjerdans actually have witch hunters that hunt Grisha. But the main events of the Shadow and Bone series take place in Ravka, and even though there's some level of suspicion towards the Grisha in Ravka too, they have a whole army of Grisha. Ravka has two armies, and the magical elite, if you will, are the soldiers of the second army. They have their own special uniform called kefta. They're like long robes or coats, and each Grisha order has their own colors. So that's how you distinguish their division.
Like I said, all this shit is black magic. These niggas having robes and stuff. Look at them. Talking about small science, which sounds like what? Alchemy. State alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist. These niggas have on these same clothes. I mean, come on, bro. Come on now. Come on now. They using their hands and everything. Come on now. Small science? Really?
The magic itself is called small science in this world, as the way the magic works is through manipulation of matter in a molecular level.
Have you ever met somebody with a magnetic personality that just seems to draw attention wherever they go? I don't mean because of the clothes they wear or someone gifted with exceptionally good looks per se, although that helps, but a certain animal magnetism that just makes people feel comfortable being around them and enjoy being with them. Animal magnetism, also known as mesmerism, was coined by German Dr. Franz Mesmer in the 18th century to describe an invisible natural force possessed by all living things, including humans, animals, and vegetables. His research into this force could be classified as vitalism, the belief that living organisms are fundamentally different from non-living entities because they contain a non-physical element, a special energy or vital spark which some equate with the soul. Dr. Mesmer believed that the force could have physical effects, including healing, and his theories grew in popularity into the 19th century, despite his inability to achieve any scientific recognition or legitimacy for his ideas. This is how a 1791 London publication explains Mesmer's theory on the vital fluid. Quote, "Modern philosophy has admitted a plenum or universal principle of fluid matter, which occupies all space, and that as all bodies moving in the world abound with pores, this fluid matter introduces itself through the interstices and returns backward and forwards, flowing through one body by the currents which issues their form to another, as in a magnet, which produces that phenomenon which we all call animal magnetism."
Huntsmen are widely regarded as the world's greatest warriors. While skilled in a wide variety of weaponry and hand-to-hand combat, these champions are also masters of a much greater power: aura. Aura is a manifestation of the soul, a life force that runs through every living creature on Remnant, whether they are a meager shopkeep or a renowned knight. However, what sets true warriors apart from all others is their ability to amplify and control their aura. Aura is primarily used as a defensive mechanism, passively coating the wielder in a protective force field. It can protect a combatant from what would normally be a fatal blow. It does not, however, make the user invincible. As they receive more and more damage, their aura reserve will deplete. If this happens, all the fighter will be left with is his resolve.
This fluid consists of fire, air, and spirit, and like all other fluids tends to an equilibrium. Therefore, it is easy to conceive how the efforts which the bodies make towards each other produce animal electricity, which in fact is no more than the effect produced between two bodies, one of which has more motion than the other, a phenomenon serving to prove that the body which has the most motion communicates it to the other, until the medium of motion becomes an equilibrium between the two bodies, and then this equality of motion produces animal electricity.
It's usually performed through hand motions, so most Grisha cannot perform magic if their hands are tied. Grisha has various divisions, and we will talk about them later, but each Grisha has a certain affinity to a certain kind of matter. And this gets us to the fundamental idea behind small science, and that is like calls to like. Usually children start displaying this affinity at a young age. They are tested and then taken to be trained.
So yeah, we talked about on this channel before in not as in detail as we could now, for example, but in detail about what niggas want to call chi, prana, whatever the hell, bro. And how it's really the breath of life and niggas just ruin everything. But basically, your affinity with this stuff is determined by your blood. Everything's the blood because the force of life runs through your blood. Everything's about bloodlines, man. It's very, very, very important. I mean, I already knew, but it's like, damn, that's really all it's about. Anyway, midichlorians, remember them? From Star Wars.
It's not disrespect, Master, it's the truth.
From your point of view,
The boy is dangerous. They all sense it, why can't you?
his fate is uncertain. He's not dangerous. The Council will decide Anakin's future.
Master, sir, I heard Yoda talking about midichlorians. I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Midichlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells.
They live inside me.
Inside your cells, yes. And we are symbionts with them.
Symbionts?
Life forms living together for mutual advantage. Without the midichlorians, life could not exist, and we would have no knowledge of the Force. They continually speak to us, telling us the will of the Force. When you learn to quiet your mind, you'll hear them speaking to you.
I don't understand.
With time and training, Annie, you will. You will.
Now, this same type of concept of things in your blood that have something to do with what people would call quote-unquote superhuman or fucking superhuman like abilities or traits is found throughout all types of things. Like in that Shadow of Bone shit with the Grisha, they find out if you're a Grisha by testing your blood. This is from Tokyo Ghoul, which is some demonic nonsense. You probably heard of it. Where basically it's like demons, vampires walking around that look like humans, but they can't eat regular food. They eat humans and stuff. And all their powers and stuff is determined by these little things called RC cells, which flow around in their blood. And it's not in this page, but I read it because I am so disillusioned. I was like, okay, what are they actually talking about? So I read the history of where RC cells come from. And according to the lore of the story, a dragon, yes, a dragon, back in old times of that story, fucking like exploded or something and it spread its cells throughout the population, which is why some people are freaking ghouls. And like it's a lot going on. As you can see though, they exist in both humans and ghouls, but ghouls just have a way higher concentration of them, which allow them to use them and manifest them in ways such as making weapons and such. And at the bottom you can see that highly concentrated RC cells can ignite and produce flames or form lightning-like projectiles. Remember that. Remember that. There's something over here with Dragon Ball Z, and we all know what's up with them. I mean, the whole Saiyans are a race of monkeys. Come on now. I had no idea about S cells. So it turns out that to become a Super Saiyan, you need a high enough amount of S cells. And these things are influenced by like spiritual type stimuli, like how calm you are, where you grew up at and stuff. So again, we have something about a high concentration of something in the blood, something to do with lineage and DNA and all that, that correlates with quote unquote superhuman or extraterrestrial abilities, traits, and characteristics. Yet again.
Even if he was not able to achieve creating a full-blown devil fruit himself, Vegapunk did solve the mystery behind how they function, which was a cooperative effort actually, between himself and another well-known scientist, Vinsmoke Judge, the leader of the Germic Kingdom. Together they discovered what is known as the lineage factor, which I believe is known as bloodline elements in the official translation, but it's basically a blueprint for life, very much akin to the concept of DNA, which is present in all living organisms, and the theory behind which has also led to the idea of manipulating life via changing this factor, something that Judge himself was very successful in achieving with his own children, as well as eventually developing an entire clone army. And of course, Vegapunk used his findings to study devil fruits themselves, discovering that the fruit properties manipulate the lineage factor of a living being, thus imbuing them with all of the funky powers that we see in the series.
Houston, Texas, 2010. Doctors at the Texas Heart Institute examine a 59-year-old man complaining of chest pains and make an astounding discovery. The patient has a 3-chambered heart, similar to that of a reptile. Researchers attributed the rare condition to an evolutionary phenomenon called atavism, when a lost trait of a distant ancestor reemerges in a modern organism. While the discovery of a human with a reptilian heart is incredibly rare, other genetic conditions have been found that suggest a link with reptiles.
From High Power, now he charged with the 4 murders. Now he didn't say with Big Crazy Pope and Rebo and some other cat. So when I walk by going to showers, Lil Fee said, hey cuz, what's this about you knocking out my little homie? So I look at Lil Fee, man, this motherfucker is just like a fucking reptile. I mean, that's the only way I can describe him. Even then, before I had the articulation to describe him as a reptile, the dude looks like a cold-ass reptile. I mean, like, and I mean that in an evil, I'm not in a put-down way. I mean, he just looks like, I mean, like, in a minute he's gonna go like this. I mean, his eyes are cold in his expression. And he had them light-colored eyes. He had that pointy nose. I said, this motherfucker is fucking reptile. It was crazy, right? So.
Since the 1800s, over 100 cases of human tails have been reported in medical journals. People with the disease, ichthyosis, have dry, scaly skin. And people with the diseases called syndactyly and ectrodactyly have fused fingers and claw-like hands. But if such anatomical irregularities are a link to our ancient ancestors, as some scientists suggest, could it be that they are not the remnants of a reptilian stage in human development, but instead reveal that humans once commingled with reptilian aliens? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes.
They talking right over your heads. Never forget that.
And believe that further clues can be found in the stories of China's first emperor, Fuxi.
Fuxi is one of the mythical rulers of China, and he is considered to be the original or prototypical man. He was created along with his sister Nuwa. They were humanoid in form in the sense that their upper bodies were that of humans, but their lower bodies were that of snakes, and they're often represented with snake tails intertwined together.
Similar stories of reptilian humanoid beings exist in cultures around the ancient world, including Japan, Greece, and South America.
We even have good drawings and reliefs of many of these fantastic creatures. And so is it possible that some of these creatures really are aliens that look like that? And it seems like in some cases that is probably the case.
Other unusual anomalies also appear to mirror the descriptions of divine beings from ancient texts. millions of infants are born with blue patches of skin called Mongolian spots, evoking the blue skin gods common to India and Egypt. There have also been many cases of gigantism throughout history, bringing to mind biblical stories of the Nephilim, giants that were said to be the hybrid offspring of humans and divine beings called the Watchers.
All right, well, they just laid a whole lot of groundwork for me. Anyway, so what I have right here is an in progress batch of notes I'm taking from two books, actually. The first one I'm reading right now is, well, I already skimmed through it, but I'm getting notes from it now. It's called Something the Holy Grail by Lawrence Gardner. Lawrence Gardner wrote these books, so you can go read all this shit for yourself if you want to. He made two. One called The Realm of the Ring Lords, which is about the Seed of Cain. Ring Lords? I don't have to tell you what that sounds like. But this one is about the quote-unquote Holy Grail bloodline, right? Which is just about everything we've been talking about. And right here, I have just some main ideas, not even all of them, but just the main ones I wanted to touch on. First one being that Cain was actually the firstborn son of Eve, or Amma. She had a fallen angel child. She had a child with a fallen angel. And if you don't know about all that, man, go watch more videos. And so that, that's part of the reason why there's pain during childbirth and the whole menstrual cycle, because that was a really bad idea. Because of this and their insistence on inbreeding and staying away from the line of Seth and Abel, or our line, Cain and his whole line maintained a high concentration of Anunnaki blood in the line, fallen angel blood. That's where you get elves, fairies, and pixies and all that crazy shit that comes with them. I be saying it to myself all the time. The truth is not exactly simple, but it's very straightforward. That's why, like, in all these movies, it's always about, the old powerful bloodlines, or, things of that nature. Second one, intimacy between the seeds. There's a grand overarching pattern here, bro. This repeats what I saw in Jacob, Ephraim, Manasseh, Reuben, and the rest of his brothers. The firstborn always ends up just doing something.
「選ばれし真の王の御代からおよそ2000年ほど前、死骸と呼ばれる化け物の蔓延により、この地は衰微していた。領主の一つであるチェラム家は、神より授かった力を用いて、死骸を打ち続けることにより人々を掌握し、その勢力を拡大していった。各領主の間でチェラム家を名手として擁立する声が高まった頃、神々もまた彼らの中から王となる者を選定しようとしていた。絶対的な君主として史上初の王国を築く者。候補は2人。1人は野心家、類まれなる統率力でチェラム家を束ねる弟、ソムヌス・ルシス・チェラム。1人は聖人、慈愛に満ち己の力の全てを民に捧げる兄、アーデン・ルシス・チェラム。私はカンナギ、神々の声を聞く者として神託の時を待っている。
真の王はこれが答えなのか。王たる資格は。
不死の化け物と化していた彼はアダギウムと呼ばれ、御影島に幽閉され、長きにわたり王家に対する憎悪を募らせていった。ルシス王国の歴史の中にアーデン・ルシス・チェラムの名はない。
待ってるよ、ノクト。
And the underdog or whatever who came after comes out on top. You feel me? We all know Jacob judged Esau's birthright. We all know that Jacob gave Ephraim the birthright over Manasseh, even though Manasseh was the firstborn. We all know Reuben deed up, even though he was the firstborn. It was heralded for a while, but he deed that up. It's the same thing. And last but very, very least, Shumana. Now, what is Shumana? It's, oh my God, this shit, man. It's like an alchemical metal food substance meant to nourish the spiritual body of a dragon royal. Because you got the physical body, and there are layers to your body, which are still considered physical, but they're real subtle. You can't really, like, tell. Well, you can. The normal person can't tell. And then spiritual body and all that other stuff. So basically, they just bypass the whole physical body. And I just said it. It's food meant to nourish the spiritual body of a dragon royal. And what they do is, it's like some kind of, through some process of alchemy, some like white metallic powder. They do some shit, bro. And niggas eat it and they get superpowers, basically. There's more to it than that, though. They call it starfire, which is it's a very uncouth way of putting it, but it's basically sacred period blood. They look at it like liquid consciousness, which is why they place so much emphasis on the moon, and that's why the moon and the whole female goddess thing are hand in hand. The lunar cycle, the menstrual cycle, period blood. Okay, so that, along with the aforementioned high concentration of alien blood, is where all their little powers come from. Because it's all to do with like chemicals like serotonin, melatonin, the stuff in your pineal gland. These dragons, because they are wise as serpents, even though they're not wise, they're just very knowledgeable. They know all these things. Bam breaks it down in the book. We're just not really talking about that right now. So they talk about how, because look, they want to be like us, but they don't want to be us. Like, they want to be us, but they don't want to be like us. Like, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because our immortality comes from, believing and all that, humbling ourselves and all that. They don't want to do that. So, like, in the book, for example, Mans talks about cells and how basically scientifically explaining immortality through these alchemical food substances and literal alien period blood, bro. That's what the cup represents. The cup and the blood in the cup. And that's why there's usually a female holding it. The cup is supposed to be the womb. And the blood in the cup is self-explanatory. That's why after the Anunnaki dipped, they started getting this blood from so-called sacred priestesses or whatever, which are basically just prostitutes. I mean, I'm just being honest. They're ritualized prostitutes who they collect this blood from and consistently feed it to these kings to give them their powers. You feel me? So it's like, I mean, once you look at it from that perspective, it's like, damn, nigga, you not even like that for real. You feel me? Moving on, they call I don't even know what language this word comes from, but sangria means blood royal. Line of King David, Judah, all that. Adam, Adah, Noah, Abraham, Eva were not. We know this at this point, but from the perspective of a dry bone, some nigga just picking up the Bible might look at us like, oh, we're just little insignificant. No. Back in them days, niggas was known, formidable, and making moves just like we is now.
なぜそこまで麦わらを信じる
D はまた必ず嵐を呼ぶ
You feel? Right there, I got the sons of light versus the sons of darkness. So, it's funny. Like I said, everything's just a pattern. The sons of light versus the sons of darkness. It's just an abbreviation. I wasn't thinking about anything else. But look, soul, the sun, sunlight, side, sodomy, Sodom. You see how that comes together? The Greeks believed dragons were benevolent, revealing wisdom and secrets. Hebrews or Eber, the winged feathered people, on the other hand, us, view dragons as what they are, mischievous purveyors of sin. To the Celts, the Lost Tribes, the Aryans and Scythian and all that, remember in the last video we talked about how all these niggas is actually Northerners. Because remember, Israel means to wrestle with God. The dragon is the ultimate symbol of sovereignty. The Pendragons, head dragons, which means king of kings to them. The word dragon means, among other things, to see clearly, light, like Lucifer, clear, clarity, and the one with the deadly glance, like the eye. And one thing that people don't really tend to think about, because everybody thinks about them damn fire-breathing dragons and stuff, which, I mean, there are different types of dragons. But the ones we're talking about right now are more closely aligned to sea serpents and marines. And that marine spirits, like the beast that comes out of the sea. It's always something from the ocean, ain't it? So anyway, these so-called gods were nothing but Anunnaki, just fallen angels. And Anunnaki just means, I read somewhere that means like he who comes and goes, but it really means like those who came from above, those who descended, aliens. They're perceived as godlike due to otherworldly strength, intelligence, appearances, and powers like Malam, which we will talk about later. But like humans, they are far from perfect and are not at all immortal. Now, the word Elohim is actually a plural of Elo, which just means lofty one. And these lofty ones were the early gods of Canaan, the cursed land, as each major lofty one that descended had their own personal separate cult. Literally, these niggas came down and were worshipped. I mean, it is what it is. But like we talked about in a previous video, all these so-called deities and gods of that nature get their power from other sources. Because if you think these are fallen angels, okay, well, they're disconnected from their power source, our Father. So they got to do something, right? So you think of temples and all those weird-ass rites and rituals and ceremonies and stuff. It's nothing but they're just using humans as generators and batteries. Prayers, worship, and sacrifice are intrinsic to these so-called guys and their little power fantasy because they don't have anything else to use. You dig? Like, for example, Jehovah or Yahweh, which is you know who, bestowed lordships with the title of master craftsman. And Freemasons refer to what they do as the craft. You see, all this shit came from the same tree. All this wicked ass fruit fell off the same branches of the same wicked tree. Speaking of bro, he had a wife named Ashtoreth, who you've definitely seen because she's in the Bible like 50 times. And he had 5 sons, which is Baal, Leviathan, Death, Dawn, and Peace. Those are not their actual like names. It's just what their names mean in English. And funny thing about Peace, that was Jerusalem. Because if you reread the book of Joshua, we took Jerusalem. Jerusalem was not always our city. Like, it was always called the city of peace, but it was not always our city. We took Jerusalem. He also had a daughter named Anath, which is the queen, known as the queen of the heavens. That's how you get all that weird shit, man. There are many types of angels, but this genus, seraphim, are different. We're different from humans, but we're close enough to reproduce. And in regards to the origin of the Sumerians, or these seraphs, they say that they came from whence we do not know. And I added in, they're aliens, buddy. So these Elohim, or lofty ones back in them days, had godly status and were described as being judges and foreign rulers. And the kings they appointed, which were Nephilim, a high concentration of alien blood, had these crazy names like Alulim-Uk and Inmin-Gal-Ana. But once you understand the old language, you realize why their names are like that, because their names tell you everything you need to know about them. Like, if you write my name out in Paleo Hebrew, Marlin, Amrulan, it means something so incredibly far. So incredibly far. I don't got my little note card that I wrote what it means on it, so we just gonna move on. But just know, that thing busting. Another fun fact, all these so-called deities had at least 2 names, a proper name and an epithet, just like me, My real name, my like name that my family would call me is Ahaba Love. Well, everybody else knows me as Raphael, which just basically means don't mess with me. And I've been saying that to myself for a very, 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 very long time about how I know that one name is for my friends and my family and the other is for everybody else. And it's just, everything just keeps getting confirmed like a million times over. But something you might not know but should not be surprised to hear is that a greater number of Sumerian texts, more than any other civilization or culture, have been found and are being held at places, lovely, lovely, uplifting, atmospheric places such as the British Museum, the Louvre Museum, the Berlin Museum, and Yale, which is Skull and Bones headquarters. Or not headquarters, yeah, Skull and Bones headquarters. Crazy world we live in, man. Yale is also one of, if not the oldest school in America, and you can tell by just looking at the building, the campus. Moving on, Nephilim does not necessarily mean just giant. It just means those who are cast down. And like their offspring and stuff like that. So Nephilim is really a catch-all term. Like, honestly, it's kind of like a broad term for real. I could be considered a Nephilim. They came in all shapes and sizes, including massive. These sons became unjust on account of extreme confidence in their own strength, like some examples that I will put into the video. These unruly sons did acts that reminded Greek people of titans or giants, which I feel like are the actual fallen angels themselves. And I feel like the Olympian guys, like their offspring. I feel like that's what it is, so it's probably true. So yeah, they called them giants physically and metaphorically for they do some big ass great awe-inspiring deeds, you feel me? One example is Asmodeus from the Book of Solomon. You can go look that up. He's a self-proclaimed Nephilim. He said he came from the seed of a fallen one and a woman. And then he starts talking shit too about how mortals, men that they are, worship niggas like him, not knowing that set above them are evil angels. You dig? So that whole mighty man and men renowned thing just refers to extraordinary ability. Nimrod was called a mighty man. We don't even gotta talk about all these things that our patriarchs did. Them four I got right there, Joshua, Moses, Samson, and David, is enough. Especially Joshua. Chill. Anyway, you get the idea. Now that power ain't coming from no damn period blood, but just the anointing of the Most High and him fighting for us. See, I take that any day over any other way. Go reread the book of Joshua. All those kings that I impaled and hanged and all that assorted all that assorted mockery is because this is who they are. Are those kings? Those are not normal people, especially not back in them days. These are Anunnaki.
なんだあいつすっげえ速いぞ侍か侍噂のおりゃー遅れを取るなおでん隊長待って宝奪いはいいか今回はいつもと全然違うロジャー海賊団はやめてギャー全然聞いてねおりゃーはや
So many times in the Old Testament, our people used to get intimidated because our enemies were greater and taller than we, with cities walled up to heaven. They were so knowing what we know now. Them was clearly the fallen angels and they seed, like the Scythians and stuff, who were always described as being unnaturally tall with fierce eyes, along with having blonde and red hair and blue eyes and stuff like that, which was not normal. Because like that boy he said a while ago, angels are not what you think they are. Angel just means messenger. Archangel means chief messenger. For the most part, they act like normal niggas, which is unsurprising considering we did come first. That's the whole reason why old boy got mad, because he felt like he shouldn't have to bow down to Ada. And here we are. But basically, these sons, the Nephilim, or the sons of the fallen ones, took advantage of their sudden supremacy because they were basically running around a whole bunch of toddlers. So they reigned all over the normal people, committing unspeakable atrocities, including full-blown genocide, all while their parents, the original fallen ones, actually tried and failed to control them. I didn't really know that little detail. They tried to control them. They tried to like rein them in, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. These Nephilim had angelic knowledge from their dads, their parents, but they had crudeness, human crudeness, and fallibility from their moms, which they were unable to cope with. And that's what happens when you do things of your own accord. Fallen ones, they messed up. And so the enemy, because they don't want you to know this shit, uses tools such as storytelling, folklore, mythology, and fairy tales to deceive people and drive them away from the truth. These Sumerians, or these fallen ones, or any ancient culture for that matter, did not have time, nor the tolerance, nor the damn will to go write stories and mumbo jumbo. Back in them days, I've said something like this before, getting water might have been life and damn death. You could step outside the walls of your city and boy, this freaking 50-foot tiger is chilling. You gotta realize back in them days, son. Back in them days, especially before the flood. We're not even talking about that right now, though. Shit was not safe. Niggas was serious, dead ass for real. Especially in Sumeria, a city full of scholars and all that. And just, where do you think written records and all that came from? Them niggas did not have time to write no damn stories. They used to hold a little divine assembly at a temple, whose president was the so-called father, ruler of the sky, Anu. And this council is what appointed kings, served justice, like the Supreme Court, and served as a democratic voting system. I mean, they say that America was named after Amerigo Vespucci, which is retarded. No, it means Amaru Kai, which is land of the plumed serpent. There's nothing new under the sun, bro. So in total, there's supposed to be 600 aliens of the netherworld and 300 of the heavens. All aliens, or at the very least, having a substantial amount of alien blood, with genetic mutations to boot, like having 4 arms and strange skin colors and horns and stuff. And we just got through watching something like that, did we not? Contrary to what they might have you think, I think I put that somewhere before, but yeah, they're not immortal at all. They're just really hard to kill. Like all these niggas have had their deaths recorded by means of getting clapped, as far as I know. And get this though, that's where you get the whole celebrity thing. That's why Hollywood is so demonic. All these people in high positions of power, all Masons and stuff, is the same type things. They're just taking over these niggas' places. Because these Anunnaki were the original celebrities, bro. I mean, you got celebrities named after Anunnaki right now, like Madonna and Lady Gaga. And shit, while we at it, Drake. What the hell do you think a Drake is? It's a baby dragon. These aliens literally had designated community duties in their earthly functions. They were patrons, founders, teachers, judges, technologists, kingmakers, venerated, worked for, and worshipped. Like who? The damn Sumerian king's list, straight from the horse's mouth, starts off when the kingship was lowered from heaven. These were not normal people. As stated in the damn book, they didn't differ necessarily and in essence from other men, else they would not be kings. Old Indian kings are spoken to have picked up large, unwieldy weapons as normal arms, and now, after all this, we know what's up with that. I got 2 examples here, like Lu, the guy Lu from Norse mythology, and Chukalin, however you say that shit, man. We all know what's up with that now. And Achilles, which, fun fact, he's actually from a lost tribe. I don't remember exactly. I think he's from Dan, But I know Achilles, yes, that Achilles with the heel is actually from a lost tribe, bro. No funny shit. He really is. Or he really was.
Telewickle was a Telex Calteca general who lived in the pre-16th century of what is now Mexico. It's said that this brutal warrior was captured by the Aztecs, but soon integrated into their community and became part of their clan. While nobody really knows why this savage warrior stayed with his captives, some claim it was because the women of the Aztecs all loved him. This was an understandable motivator for him to remain with his captors and become part of their nation.
おでん様14歳都は日照り続き井戸が枯れ苦しむ人々を見かね川を曲げて都に水を流したところこれが大水害を引き起こし再び逮捕命令しかしおでん様そのまま水路で海外へと逃亡を図りますがあえなく失敗そして15歳山寺の住職を脅して隠れ住み夜な夜な都の女たちを連れてきてハーレムを築き上げました
妖怪の類がやることだ
なお女たちは全員常に自由の身だったことを付け加えますしかしそれに怒り立ち上がったのが女の恋人たち親たち夫たち加勢する屈強な侍衆そしてそれを危機として迎え撃つおでん様これが世に言うハーレムの乱
At some point, Telewickle was promoted to be the commander of one of the Aztec armies. The legends say he was so large and powerful that none of the other soldiers could lift any of his weapons because they were just too heavy.
The odachi, translated in kanji as large or great sword, or nodachi, aka field sword, featuring graded measurements around 12 foot 3 inches in length, a combined weight of 31.97 pounds, and a curvature of the blade between 35.43 and 39.37 inches. Try scaling those dimensions next to this guy. Given the massive size of this legendary sword, it would have taken some considerable brawn and height to wield this weapon of choice, leaving many to speculate with theories of giants. Fee, fi, fo, fum. Okay, wrong legend.
Man. Some of them damn dry bones in the comments. Niggas, they don't even make me mad anymore. I just get disappointed. I'm like, dog, you are so damn stupid. Like, and it's not even the fact that niggas is ignorant. They're like so arrogant in their ignorance. It's like niggas say some stupid shit like, imagine this, imagine thinking that, imagine thinking this, imagine being a fool. Like, damn, bro. But that's besides. That's off topic. Malam and Ni. Remember, I said we were gonna talk about Malam a little later, a little early. Malam and Ni are two Sumerian words which are often linked. Strictly speaking, Ni seems to denote the effect on human beings of the divine power known as Malam. The Babylonians used various words to capture the idea of Ni, including Palutu, meaning fear. The exact connotation of Malam is difficult to grasp. It is a brilliant, visible glamour which is exuded by the so-called gods, heroes, and sometimes by kings, and also by temples of great holiness and by so-called gods, symbols, and emblems. While it is in some ways a phenomenon of light, Malam is at the same time terrifying and awe-inspiring. Ni can be experienced as a physical creeping of the flesh. Both Sumerian and Akkadian are rich in words to describe this phenomenon and its effects. Gods are sometimes said to wear their Malam like a garment or a crown, and like a garment or a crown, Malam can be taken off. If the god is killed, it disappears. And while it is always a mark of the supernatural, it carries no connotation of moral value. Demons and whatever else can wear it too. Now, all types of bodies at their base level are just energetic charged, including human ones. Atoms make up electrons, which makes up your cells, it makes up your entire body. So every single person, every single animal, every single living thing, every single thing that looks like it's not living, like this damn dresser that I'm staring at right now, has its own little field, right? Its own little energy field. And once you get to humans, that thing gets, or things like that, that thing gets stronger. So like you can tell, like when you walk by somebody, you can tell when somebody's getting really close to you, or when somebody's walking up on you or something, or somebody walks by you with a whole lot of bad intent. You can tell niggas walk in the room like, I don't like the vibes here. We put two and two together. You feel me? So when it comes to these so-called gods and whatever, their level that is so far above and beyond a normal nigga that it's like you gotta classify it as something completely different, basically.
And when I was a child, I did see a fallen angel. This particular fallen angel that I saw was very tall. He was about 8 feet tall. Not less than. He was massive. When he came in, well, not massive, massive in that way. He was just tall. He was lucent white. I mean, the palest pale that I've ever seen. It looked like he had like shimmery skin, like he was glowing. Like if you touched it, it would like come off on your finger or something. And he was terrifying. He was terrifying to behold.
Hashira means pillar. We literally know that these Anunnaki were the pillars and designated all types of shit of their societies. There are 9 Hashira in this little anime called Demon Slayer. You may have heard of it. Just like there are 9 main Egyptian deities, 9 muses, 9 emperor gods from some Chinese shit. Now, watch these 2 little clips. Think about what we just read. Think about what Tanya just said. And put 2 and 2 together yet again.
口を挟むなバカ野郎誰の前にいると思ってんだ橋のことだこの人たちは誰なんだ
柱すごい怖いんだよ
空気読めよすいません
で昔から逃げる悪ガキにまんこつでは済まさんぞ
とてつもない冷圧こちらは隊長2人1つ
息の仕方から教えてやるほどわしの気ごめんよやっ
まさかそんな
Another funny thing about that whole 9 deities thing, I mean, if you take the 7 archangels, Yahushua Mashiach, and then our Father, that's 9 right there. That's crazy, ain't it? But like on some real stuff though, like niggas can do something like that. Like I don't do it in public because I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but like my niggas can do that, bro. Like if I really like put my mind to it, I can do that. Like I can feel it. I can do that. Like that ass. Like one time, this one nigga who I don't really fuck with, but like he just kind of be around where I used to hang out at. This nigga was basically talking about voodoo and shit and fucking shapeshifting and a whole bunch of other dumb, wicked, retarded nonsense. And I started getting real pissed off. So I was thinking in my mind like, dog, I would literally beat your ass and kill whatever comes out of you. And like, I wasn't even really trying to, but I was definitely focused on this nigga. Like, I really don't like you right now, son. And this nigga started acting mad uncomfortable, glancing at me and shit. Like, he could tell I was up to something. So I chilled. And that was a while ago, my dude. That was a while ago. Before all that I was talking about in the beginning, even. A while before that. So now it's like, dog, don't freaking play. Like, I literally practice this. Like, I literally have like a routine where I do force. I'll talk about that later.
Let's move on to the second ranking Grisha, which is Ethereal Key, the Order of the Summoners. The Ethereal Key is the easiest to understand because they're basically elemental magic, very similar to Avatar. So you have firebenders, waterbenders, and airbenders. There are no earthbenders, but the rest of the divisions are pretty straightforward. Firebenders are called Inferni, waterbenders are called Tidemakers, and airbenders are called Squallers.
Funny, he said that I came across this video the other day and I had to click on it. I had to. I just had to, son. Now, listen to this little clip from this exact same video. This is the effects of this damn black magic, which we call media. This nigga is basically finna answer. This nigga's finna answer his own question. But he doesn't even realize that what he's talking about is there's nothing fake about it. This nigga is so damn indoctrinated and he believes a lie. It's terrible, bro. I can't even it's just so terrible. I can't look at none of this shit the same no more.
We know that the lion turtles were the original ones to bestow bending and take it away from humans when they returned from the wilds. The answer is simple. Lion turtles are expert geneticists who gene splice with their mind. Yeah, this is them editing human DNA. Mystery solved.
Notice how this lion turtle, which is a hybrid creature, which is fallen angel activity, just like Momo and Appa are also hybrid creatures. This nigga is touching his third eye and his heart. Come on, bro. Finna go home. This is a picture from that same video from an Avatar comic. I think this is Sozin. It's been a while since I've seen this series. But he's talking with that boy Ozai next to him about how the fire sages told him that the pairing of the Avatar's granddaughter with his own son will yield a bloodline of great power. One that will help ensure my family's rule for centuries after I'm gone. Like, we was just talking about all this alien blood, especially ours. Once you get to ours, that 1010 Phoenix blood, the Y gene, whatever you want to call it, Cohen gene, the stuff that lets you control elements, yeah. This is what we're dealing with. This is the whole basis of the Avatar power system. Diluted Anunnaki blood, bro. Just like what? Fucking Shadow and Bone on Netflix. That's all it's about, bro. These damn Masons is crafty, bro. They talk right over your heads. I mean, anyone with eyes to see can look at these two niggas and tell they done. I mean, come on now. This is quotes from them. Yeah, Katara's mom and dad weren't benders. Maybe it's a recessive gene. Read this one right here. Man said, I've always seen bending as more spiritual connections though, a little bit mysterious. Think again, sometimes we might not know. It's more of what we don't want it to be. We didn't want it to be like there's a lineage, a royal family or something, and these people can bend, and then there's everyone else is non-bending, people who never will. Something sort of like a caste system. They just told you the truth right there. But these damn Masons, they word the truth in a way where they'll be like, oh, I mean, I don't gotta explain it. The whole ancient alien things is a textbook example, a great example of how they move. They'll phrase the truth like it's a damn question and just leave everything up in the air. Meanwhile, they just told you what the deal was. It's lesser magic.
John Mill French, Holy Grail, David's son, Jahi Johnson, the Cohen gene. The Cohen gene is celestial blood inside a man, which literally makes you Nephilim. It's that simple. Nephilim is a newspeak word. Belly, Colorado, Monkey, Mortal Kombat, Belly, 1988. This lines up with any new movie. It will always be monkey symbolism in PsyOps. Always.
When used in combination with the likes of Future Sight, it is possible to use all 3 types of Haki at an advanced level at the same time. So with all that said, we only have one final question left. How many types of advanced Haki does Luffy currently possess? Whew, that's a lot.
Haki, Breath of Life. I made whole videos on this topic before. And as you can just see, this monkey can use every type of Haki that has every type of Haki. The only reason he can't use Haki that goes into swords, which is hella real, by the way. I've done that shit with a fork before on my mama, on my life, on my life. This monkey can use every type of this spiritual energy, which is the breath of life. He can use all of it. This monkey, right? the damn monkey.
Haki is a power that lies dormant in all the world's creatures. Presence, fighting spirit, and intimidation. It's not so different from the things that humans can naturally sense, such as these. The act of not doubting. That is strength. Haki is a highly mysterious latent potential that exists within every living being in the One Piece world, although very few of those beings ever become aware of its presence, and even fewer come to harness its benefits. Beyond that, Haki is a very difficult existence to quantify because it isn't actually one singular thing such as Ki from Dragon Ball or Nen from Hunter x Hunter. Haki is actually a broader term used to describe 3 separate phenomena accessible to living beings. Quite specifically, those are Kenbun Shoku, otherwise known as Observation Haki, Buso Shoku, or Armament Haki, and finally Hao Shoku, better known as Conqueror's Haki. So let's begin with the wonderful world of Observation Haki. Principally speaking, this is the ability to sense the presence of other living beings. To illustrate, Otohime was able to use Observation Haki to sense and even directly empathize with the emotions of others. Meanwhile, more combat-focused individuals such as Luffy can use this brand of Haki to read and predict an opponent's moves slightly before they perform them in battle, sort of like an incredibly short premonition, allowing the user to adjust their own movement accordingly. Next up is Armament Haki, which is the art of harnessing one's spirit to coat various parts of their body or even objects in a sort of armor around themselves. If you're familiar with the Rokushiki techniques, the general idea of Armament Haki is very similar to that of Tekai. The difference being that Tekai is entirely reliant on a user's physical strength, while Armament Haki relies on willpower and life force. And one final word on Armament Haki, the power it provides is not a be-all and end-all. It is still highly influenced by the base strength of the user. So for example, in the case of 2 people fighting with equal levels of Armament Haki, the outcome of such clash will be determined by physical strength. It's actually even possible to overpower a person's Armament Haki with raw strength alone, although that kind of power is very difficult to generate. Transitioning into the last of the 3, we have Conqueror's Haki. Now this class is particularly special because it is the only one impossible to access through training alone. In order to make use of Conqueror's Haki, the user must be born with it. And to put it simply, it allows the user to manifest their willpower and exert it quite violently upon others. This is because Conqueror's Haki is an ability used to determine one's quality as a king or leader, chosen by divine power. It cannot be denied that most people in the series who possess it either have a regal position such as Boa Hancock, who is known as the Pirate Empress, are striving for a regal position such as Monkey D. Luffy, who wants to become the Pirate King, or have a regal epithet like Silver's Rayleigh, who is known as the Dark King.
Magnetism has taken effect upon persons of different sexes and ages. We may conclude with certainty that this state exists when it gives rise to the development of new faculties, which have been designated by the names of clairvoyance, intuition, internal provision, or when it produces great changes in the physical economy, such as insensibility, a sudden and considerable increase of strength, and when these effects cannot be referred to any other cause. Magnetism is as intense and as speedily felt at a distance of 6 feet as of 6 inches, and the phenomena developed are the same in both cases. Magnetism ought to be allowed a place within the circle of medical sciences.
Yeah, I'm sure that whole little series of clips and events speaks for itself. So let's just move on. Right here, we got some more notes. Disregard the top part. Just focus on the part that says aura inside the bottom. I got this from a book called Aura. I'm pretty sure it's just called Aura. I'll put a picture of it on the screens if you want to read this for yourself. You can. It's free, I'm pretty sure. Or I might have paid like 99 cents for it. I don't even know. Anyway. So what is aura? Aura, or R, comes from an Indo-European root word, which is R. I just said it, which means spokes on a wheel. And if you think about how it's like described and how it looks in these shows and shit, it's kind of like what it is. Those two little pictures at the bottom, one is a wheel with spokes and one is somebody's R. See what's going on? And the definition of it is any subtle or invisible emanation or exhalation. It's like a fine ethereal radiation surrounding every organic living being, kind of like an invisible suit of armor. Now, there's a couple different like subsets of this, I guess you could say. This one right here is more like the spiritual kind, the one that's more connected to the non-physical things than your physical body. They say it's oval shaped to these things like 2 or 3 feet, and this is what's referred to sometimes as like the psychic or magnetic atmosphere. And this is what niggas be feeling when you talk about vibe checking and stuff. And it's like a flame. The densest part is at your heart and your physical body, and it tapers out. It's like a flame. If you get up close into a fire, you're gonna ignite. But the further away you get from it, you still feel the warmth and stuff. But you know, it's a gradually decreasing area of effect. This version, the more spiritual psychic version, comes in all types of colors and all that. Because colors is just an outward manifestation of vibration, and like physically it's the vibrations of matter and stuff. So when you're on this level, I mean, who you are determines the colors that show. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you could probably just pick that up. It can be calm or fierce like tongues of fire. And it always projects these small little bodies of mental vibration like sparks from a flame. And these sparks are behind many strange psychic occurrences and phenomena that people call ESP and all that other shit, bro. And this aura is indeed comprised of the breath of life, which people call Haki, Prana, Vril, whatever you want to call it, Chi, whatever you want to call it. The one I'm mainly focused on though right now is what is called the Prana aura, apparently to them, which is like I said earlier, how the one we was just talking about is more connected to like the spiritual side of things. Well, this one is more connected to the physical side of things. It's elemental, that's complex. This is that invisible suit of armor I was talking about. And it contains physical power and what? Magnetism. Magnetism. That should ring some bells for you. It's basically colorless. You can kind of see it, but it's kind of hard to see. Not really. It kind of is. You just gotta know what you're looking for real. It's like the color of the clearest water or a very clear diamond. And it radiates minute bristle-like lines outwards like quill on a porcupine. If you're in excellent health, they're going to be stiff and brittle looking. And if not, they're going to be looking all types of crazy. And minute particles of this Haki or Vril actually go off or giving off connection with physical exhaust like scents and stuff. Which is why dogs and other animals with keen sense of smell can do what they can do with that, bro. That's what gives vitality to scent. And something like this, because this is literally particles of like spiritual energy, but it's in a scent, which is something physical. You can smell a scent with the physical sense. So it's like physical and spiritual at the same time. So I always say there's no difference. The only thing separating physical from spiritual is my Father's word, plain and simple. And it's filled with extremely minute, sparkling little particles like tiny electric sparks that are always in constant motion. So your little invisible suit of armor is always vibrating like heated air from a hot stove. It's identical with human magnetism. We just talked about that. You felt that before when you walked by somebody with a strong presence or anything like that. You can consider it like the steam of any living being. And all living things have this. From the little squirrel outside to you sitting here right now. To them damn so-called guys, which we know what's up with them now. Like I said, everybody has this power dormant, but like, bro, the potency and efficacy, all that, how far you can go with it, by your blood. Where you from, son? That's why us royals goddamn going stupid, mad, crazy. Just like I was talking about earlier, Malam and Conqueror's Haki are basically the same thing. Not everybody has Malam, just like not everybody has Conqueror's Haki. It's like it sets you apart. You're not regular. You're not a normal person. For the Lord has driven you out from before great nations, or driven out from before you great nations. This is the book of Joshua. And strong. But as for you, no man has been able to stand before you unto this day. One man of you, one shall chase 1,000. For the Lord your God, it is that fighteth for you, as he hath promised you. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. And we know, Abba does not work on hocus pocus, okay? None of that. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. Can you see where I'm going with this? We all know who wrote the Psalms, right? David. We all know that David... Bro. You, Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light. With your help, I can advance against a troop. With my God, I can scale a wall. As for God, as for Abba, Yahuwah, his way is perfect. The Lord's word is flawless. He shields all who take refuge in him. Footnotes. Another way to read that. Or can run through a barricade. What do you think that looks like? One chase 1,000. Jeremiah 16:16. But now I will send for many fishermen, declares the Lord, and they will catch them. After that, I will send for many hunters, and they will hunt them down on every mountain and hill and from the crevices of the rocks. Now, just a little bonus fact. I'm going to show you what pops up if you type in the number 1616 in the Strong's Concordance. Look what pops up. A guest, by implication, a foreigner, an alien, a sojourner, a stranger, a dweller, a temporary inmate, a mere lodger, a resident alien, foreigner, inhabitant, sojourner, stranger. Need I say more? Y'all stay prayed up out here. All praises to the kingdom in the name of Yahushua Yahuwah. Listen, man, I'm from Orion. I'm from Orion. Plain and simple. World crazy.